My name is Bill Linehan, and I'm the chair of the Committee on Planning and Development. I sit here with my friend and colleague, Michael Flaherty, who's an at-large city councilor. We hold this hearing today, and the subject matters are Docket 0111, a message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Anais Forio, Anais Forio, as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term ending May 1, 2018. Docket 0112, message in order for the confirmation of the reappointment of Nelson Arroyo as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term ending May 1, 2019. Docket 0113, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Michael Nichols as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term ending October 1, 2018. And docket 0114, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Michael DeMella as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term ending November 27th. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming here. We appreciate it. We also have Jeffrey Hampton, who's the Deputy Director for Zoning at the Boston Planning and Development Agency. So I'm also been joined here by Councilor Josh Zakem. And Jeffrey, if you'd begin to give us a sense of what the administration's appointments are about.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilor Linehan. Good morning, Councilor Flaherty, Councilor Zakem. Thank you for taking us this morning. My name's Jeff Hampton. I'm the Deputy Director for Zoning for the Planning and Development Agency. I am also the liaison to the city's Zoning Commission. The Zoning Commission is tasked with the keeping of the Boston Zoning Code, enacting all zoning laws, whether they be text or map. The Zoning Commission is also tasked with approving all of the large institutions' master plans and large-scale developments, which are called planned development areas. For instance, the Millennium Tower, the Liberty Mutual Building in the South End, Prudential Center, the Hancock Towers, developments of that nature. One of the issues, the commission is made up of 11 members, representing a wide variety of interests, whether they be the Boston Society of Architects, Greater Boston Real Estate Board, Chamber of Commerce. There are 3 at-large appointments that the mayor has. And right now we have 1 vacancy and 2 expired terms that we're hoping to fill if this body sees fit, as well as a reappointment of an existing zoning commissioner.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony, and thank you for your work with us over the years. We appreciate, Jeff, what you do on behalf of the city and how important zoning is. I'd like to remind those in attendance that this is being televised and it's live, and then it will air intermittently on City Council TV, which is now in effect 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You can't get enough of us. So what I'll ask you each to do is just to give us some background on how your experiences, your skills, your life background has something to do with zoning, and or how you see the mission of a commissioner on the zoning board. What's the proper term?
Zoning Commission. Thank you.
So you're all aspiring to be a commissioner, and Nelson already has been. So we'll do that in order of the dockets, which is 0111, and that is Anais Forio.
Thank you. So good morning, all. My name is Anais Forio, and thank you for having me today. This is a great opportunity. Boston has been my home for the last 14 years. I was born in New York, raised abroad, but I came to Boston to pursue my undergrad degree, and have stayed there ever since. I've been heavily involved in community projects in Mattapan, Rosendale, and Hyde Park during my tenure as an undergrad. And I gained a passion for public service interning at the governor's office a while back, and I've stayed in the public sector ever since. I am a project manager in public affairs by training and expertise. I just obtained my master's in public administration a month ago. And I am a homeowner in Mattapan, one of the original homeowners for the Homestead Development Green Project on Morton Street. My neighbors and I have been actively involved with the developer and elected officials for phase 2 and 3 of that project that is scheduled to start sometime next year. I am excited to join the commission because I hope to bring first-hand experience on how to be a resident or how to join a development in the city of Boston, honestly, and the challenges that come about with it and the rewards. I hope to start a family in the city, so Boston is definitely in my future, and I'm keenly interested in seeing how the city shapes going.
Great. Do my colleagues have any?
Just Annie, so obviously impressive resume, your background in healthcare and transportation, legislative and public affairs. Sometimes folks, when you think about the zoning commission, it's their duty is to sort of maintain and in certain instances update the zoning code. In many instances that comes from recommendations from the city council because we're hearing from constituents or we're seeing certain things happening in a specific district, or in my instance as an at-large council, I see it across the city. And everyone thinks that you just need to have, and I think it's important to have sort of real estate and we'll obviously get to speak to that with Michael DeMella's resume. But sometimes everyone sort of gets focused on the real estate part of it when it's not just about sort of the height and the densities and the architecture. It's also about uses. To see that your resume speaks to your background in healthcare and transportation, legislative and public affairs, kind of gives you a sort of a broader depth of, and that's important to have zoning commission members that can sort of speak to these particular issues as well, particularly around the use side or the transportation side. So very encouraged to support the petition by the chair. Look forward to working with you. I know that we've done some interesting stuff. Councilor Lenahan and I have worked closely along with our colleagues to rezone our own neighborhood recently. There was probably almost a 2-year kind of a collaborative effort, and Jeff Hampton played an instrumental role in that along with the BRA, just to, again, to try to control the heights and the densities and the parking issues that come with development. And in some instances, there's the term overdevelopment, and hopefully the commission is sensitive to that overdevelopment. It just seems that there are certain parts of the city where that's where everyone is tripping over themselves to be in or to develop, when there's other parts of our city, quite frankly, that are in dire need of an infusion of investment and to get things going. So hopefully the commission will start to have an eye towards making sure that that economic opportunity and prosperity flows throughout our other neighborhoods as well. It just seems like everyone wants to be in South Boston, everyone wants to develop in South Boston, all the cranes are in South Boston, all the jobs are in South Boston, and in largely part because of the great work that Councilor Lenahan has done working with the community and is also working with investors and developers. But just want to make sure that there's a broader view and a broader picture. There are other neighborhoods. You mentioned your community in Mattapan, and I was actually at that dedication when I first joined the council years ago. We were up there for that project. So good stuff happening. Welcome for this great opportunity, and hopefully you bring your time and talents and your area of expertise and professional background to bear with other board members.
Thank you so much.
Council Zick? Good. I would concur. Thank you for you to be willing to serve in this capacity. More people need to participate in local government. This is a very important aspect. I mean, the number one reality to this is that it generally creates the value for people's property. So when you think about that, zoning can diminish or expand a value on a particular property, and it also can create the other half of the coin, which is quality of life. So if it's done appropriately, I concur with Mike that this would be a good appointment. And again, thank you for coming here today and for taking the time and willing to serve on an important body in the city's government. So I'll move on to the next matter. It's docket 0112, message in order for the confirmation of the reappointment of Nelson Arroyo as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term ending May 1, 2019. Nelson, thank you for your service to date, and give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, councilors. Thank you for the opportunity to serve again. My life has been all volunteer. All of the work that I do in my community is volunteer. That's what led me here. I served on the neighborhood council. I live in Jamaica Plain. I was chair of its business committee. I serve on a local nonprofit, the Hyde Square Task Force. I was its chair for the last 14 years. We bought a church recently in that area, the Blessed Sacrament. I'm chair of that project. So all of my work has been about community. That's why I sit on this commission, because I want to make sure that people in our community have a voice. And sometimes we're not aware of the voices that we have, and we sit back and we don't pay attention to things that go on. So I like to be their voice on this commission, and that's what I've been, I believe, for the last 10 plus years on this commission.
Thank you. Council Flaherty?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy to support your reappointment, Nelson. Go back a lot of years from Hyde Square. Similar to having sort of I guess a breadth of talents on the zoning commission. Having a community voice, being that community representative, is huge for our neighborhoods. When again buttressed about whether it's big development projects, large scale, small scale, things that are happening in and around the community, making sure that someone has sort of a keen eye towards what's in the best interest of the community. You've always spoke to that. Your involvement at Hyde Square is well regarded and respected. So happy to support your reappointment to the commission. Thank you for your time on behalf of the city. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, Council Flaherty. Council Blake?
I think it's Councilor Flaherty has been talking about. It's incredibly important that we have a diverse range of perspectives, people from different neighborhoods who are really listening to the residents who, whether they speak or write in to the commission on issues that are affecting their neighborhood, while also keeping the broader view that the city does need to grow, but hopefully that we're going to continue to grow and through a planning process that the BRA is doing and for your work is going to be in a thoughtful way that does spread development out. And I will take exception that all the developments in South Boston, you should see some of the cranes in Fenway and Back Bay as well, which is great to see, but we do want to, I think, make sure that we're planning effectively. And this, I guess, goes for all of the appointees, take those perspectives into account. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zake. And thank you again, Nelson, for your service to date. The next matter is docket 0113, a message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Michael Nichols. So Michael Nichols is not here, and he sends a letter. I regret that I am not able to attend Wednesday's city council hearing on my appointment to the Boston Zoning Commission. I was notified of the date and time for the hearing shortly before his departing the country for 5 days. Having had the honor to work for the Boston City Council, I have incredible respect for the work you and your councils do. Please allow me to briefly explain my qualifications serving on the Zoning Commission. I have served as the president of Audubon Neighborhood Association for several years, board for several additional years, board member and city officials, Audubon, Rose Kennedy Greenway Conservancy. I work with parties interested in developing space with BPDA in and around the Greenway District, work for the Greenway organization. And thank you for considering the mayor's request to appoint me to the commission. I am honored by the mayor and the council's consideration. Thank you, Michael. So I would give an opportunity for either one of my colleagues to comment on the fact that Michael's not here and whether or not to accept this particular communication as his testimony.
Someone who's very familiar with Mr. Nichols, I think it's perfectly a reasonable letter to send in, and I think it covers a lot of the important issues. And obviously, scheduling can get away from all of us.
And I'll second that too, is someone that we know him, we know his work ethic, we know his resume, his background, and his passion for Boston and for Boston's neighborhoods. I think would be a good fit.
So, for the record and for viewers, Michael has worked directly for the city council as a member of our council's central staff. And so we're well aware of him. Many of my colleagues are well of his ability to work and his contributions to the city in the past. So, last but not least, docket 0114, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Michael DeMella as a member of the zoning commission for a term ending November 2017. Michael, you have the floor.
Thank you, Councilor Linehan, Councilor Flaherty, and Councilor Zachem. I appreciate the opportunity here. One of the things that I think has always been important to me, in fact, one of the founding principles of our company is giving back to the community and to the industry what we serve. And as part of my work in the industry, I'm deeply involved with the Greater Boston Real Estate Board and have been for quite some time. I'm actually chair-elect for this year and scheduled to be chair of Greater Boston Real Estate Board next year. My background in real estate is as a co-owner of a brokerage firm, property management firm, and a new development advisory and marketing firm. As we have a wide range of base of knowledge from the city, from the development process, both from new home sales and leasing, and also from existing home sales. So from that perspective, we deal with a lot of different of the constituents and of the residents of the city of Boston from both the ownership perspective and a leasing perspective. I think it gives me a good sort of wide background of input from folks in the city. And one of the things that I agree with completely, Councilor Linehan, you mentioned quality of life. I think that's one of the most important facts that we have to look to as a city as we go through sort of growth and zoning and development spurts. That's a key aspect of that, as well as sort of the idea of the sustainable development, not just in the geographic diversity, but also in economic diversity in terms of the development opportunities, and both in housing and commercial development as well. So those are all important factors and key right into my passion to helping the city grow in a responsible way and change and evolve in a responsible way as a living, sort of breathing city that provides opportunities for all of the residents. So something I'm really passionate about, and I really appreciate this opportunity to give back and to volunteer to hopefully offer some of my input into the zoning process. So thank you. I appreciate your consideration.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Do you have any comment?
And you never reffed any of his hockey games, did you, by any chance, Jeff?
Listen, for the record, my family are all Eagles. So my brother being on the BC hockey team years ago, I have no comment.
That's good. So Jeff and I had reffed high school and college hockey at one point years ago, but never these games. So it's quite a feat, obviously, to play for NCAA Division I team. So obviously we're fond of BU. I'm also an Eagle, graduate of BC, but went to BU Law, so I get a little.
He's a conflicted
little-
person.
yeah,
That's
get a
right.
little terrier in me.
I'll have to let that slide this time.
Yeah. But tremendous, obviously, real estate experience, which is a big piece of the zoning commission, and again, overseeing, the heights, the densities, and to maintain the zoning code. And from time to time, people such as ourselves will, file text amendments to the zoning code. Most recently, we did one for medicinal marijuana, and I would probably forecast that we may look to do something very similar on the recreational side. But those are the things that you get yourself, you get sort of thrusted into as zoning commission members. So having sort of that, and you have that multifamily background, you have the high-tech background, you have that energy efficient piece of it, which are all great strengths to join the zoning commission. So happy to support your appointment as well as your future colleagues here and look forward to working with all of you. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Thank you for being here and participating. Councilor Zachem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly a pleasure to have you here, Mike, as someone I've known over the last few years. We also share an alma mater of the high school at BB&M, which I did not realize, despite having known you for a few years now. So I think you're clear on all of that. And obviously, the qualifications, I think, speak for themselves and for all of, I think, the appointees today. It is an incredibly important position, especially as we see our neighborhoods booming and developing. And it's, I'll just reiterate how important it is to weigh, obviously, the positive impacts for revenue, for growth, for jobs of this development in the city of Boston, with also the impacts on the neighborhoods, regardless of your perspective, regardless of whether you're a real estate board appointee or a mayoral at-large appointee or whichever category it is. It's just incredibly important. I'm confident that the appointees here today will do that, and I look forward to supporting these to be confirmed. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Council Zakem, and thank you for participating today. Truly appreciate it. Jeff, just Councilor Flaherty, since we got you here, this is great. You're a captured audience. Where is the marijuana text amendment at this point? You know,
Well, the radius the half-mile radius that we had done on the medicinal one, that was already approved.
that's been approved by
That's
the
been
zoning?
approved.
Was it specifically for medicinal?
It was only because that's the only thing at the time that
But
is
it's-
on the
it
books.
said the sale-
We will readdress it because we're going to have to look at, now that it can be recreational as well, you know, we can't just have this definition of medical marijuana. So
Right.
at some point in time in the near future, specifically, we're going to have to take a look at the definition, take a look at the use again, so that, you know, the definition of this retail or what have you does take into account both medicinal and recreational,
Right.
just in case they start switching spaces.
Yep. And just for your edification, so, point of- so from our perspective, we don't want them all concentrated. And if it is a valuable industry, that it can be shared amongst the neighborhood, and that there wouldn't be the pot here,
Mhm.
you know? So that's kind of the simple rationale behind what the Council Flaherty, all of us voted for. But thank you for that update. So what we'll do is at the next city council meeting,
25th.
yeah, but I will not be present at the next city council meeting. So I might have to work out that it's the following one. The next one that I'm available at, or whether these appointments could be brought forth by the vice chair. We'll look into that. But I will advocate and recommend that you'll all be confirmed in that regard. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being here, and look forward to working with you going forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This hearing's ended.